And welcome, everyone, to Sports on Tap, live from Studio J in Brunswick, Ohio. I'm Rob Trump. We have Ed Dick, Sean Duffy, Josh Jeffy. We're Sports on Tap, part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network, neosportsinsiders.com. And thanks for joining us, everyone. And, guys, welcome back to Studio J. We haven't been here in a while.
We're home.
Yeah, it's good to be back.
Back to the homestead.
That's right. We've been on location quite a bit. We had a nice hockey event we were part of, and also Team Strongsville's event, which was fun to be a part
event, yeah.
But right now we're going to talk a little bit about the NFL mock draft, and, you know, there's mock drafts going on. We're, 10 days or less away now,
I
right?
have the
8
count.
days.
8
9
days.
Actually, I have the exact
Oh, yeah,
count.
9 days.
9 days, 1 hour, 0 minutes, and 0 seconds. We are officially 9 hours
Wow.
and, a little over 9 hours away.
So, big time coming up. We're, finally the talk can stop, and we can actually see what's going to happen here, but not before we give our mock draft.
Of course.
No, yeah, I mean, obviously what we say is gospel. So clearly, before you watch the draft, you need to listen to us.
Yeah, we're the only thing that matters
I
out
can't even
there.
keep a straight face when I say that.
Well, who wants to start this off first? A big trade. What do you guys first, before we even start, a big trade with the Los Angeles Rams trading and taking over that number one spot. The Titans got quite a bit in return, but were you guys surprised that the Titans got rid of that number one pick and now the Rams are number one on the
Not
board?
for what they got back, I'm not surprised. That's ridiculous, and that's kind of the model of what I want. Kind of, spoiler here. That's kind of the model of what I want the Browns to do. The Titans last year got their quarterback in Mariota, so this year they had the ability to trade that number one pick and get a bunch in return, and that's going to really accelerate the process of rebuilding that team.
So do you guys think if the Browns make a trade, are you guys going to be disappointed that they didn't just get the best player in the draft and that they're once again trading down?
I'm not going to be disappointed because they have far more holes that need to be filled than can be filled by just that one pick. Mind you, a number two pick should be a franchise player, a game changer, really a day one starter. But there are just so many holes that need to be filled that if you can supplement your roster by getting more of those young draft picks that this regime tends to covet, if you can get something comparable to what the Titans were able to get, I don't see why you don't do it.
I personally think what the Titans did was a fantastic move. They were able to turn the first draft pick into two first-round draft picks this year, and add a second, and add a roster player, and they were able to get out of making a really not necessarily difficult decision for them. I mean, obviously, you take the very best player in the draft and run with it if they were forced to. I don't think they were worried about that. But I think the general manager in Tennessee just made a calculated move, and LA was willing to pay that price. They're in a new market; they have to make a splash. Why not get the first pick in the draft the year you move? If I'm a Browns fan, I'm a big one. I am so sick of the trade back to get more draft picks unless we hit on them. All the draft picks we've accumulated in the last years, we have not hit on them. I'm saying take your quarterback and move on. You know what? Unless they come and blow the doors off and say we'll give you everything but the stadium, I really think you got to use the number two pick and set this franchise up and say this is our guy going forward. Robert Griffin III is a stopgap. He is not going to be your franchise quarterback going forward, and if he is, great. But I don't think he's going to be. You need to pick a young quarterback. Why not do it at number two and start building the foundation of this team?
I don't disagree with that. However, I don't think the Browns are going to take crap, just any deal for this.
No. No.
They're not going to do that just for 2 first-round picks and a third. It's going to be a haul that they get in return for this pick.
But do you weigh the prospect there? Like, my point is
what? Well, let me ask you this: what if the quarterback they want isn't there? That's the difference.
Then that's the problem. We're basically making guesses here, and we don't know who they want.
The Rams know who they're taking, and they didn't really slip, but they said there's two two guys that they're highly considering, and they'll go back and forth a little bit, but they're 90% sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Those two guys, I mean, I think we all are safe to say have got to be Jared Goff and Carson Wentz. I mean,
Well, I think we should get into it and
all right.
and
Well, let's
see what
start
our
off.
So we're starting off. All right,
with
good.
the first pick in the 2016 NFL Draft. The Los Angeles Rams select.
God, that's beautiful. I love hearing that sound. Who wants to start off? You
Go
want me
ahead,
to start?
Robbie. Yep.
All right, the Rams select
In Rob Troutman's mock draft.
California quarterback Jared Goff. And you know what? He's from California. You know, I think there'd be a little bit of hype there. He'd stay in the California area.
Let's go
to
through all
Los
of our
Angeles.
picks, then we'll discuss.
Okay, and that's where he would stay. Jared Goff, pick of the Los Angeles Rams at number 1.
Well, I mean, as many of you have probably read already, I'm on NEOSportsInsiders.com. I do have a new weekly column out there called the Six Pack of Random. And the past couple weeks, I've been doing mock drafts. We are up to mock draft 2.0. That was of last week. So this is kind of going to be mock draft 3.0 as we go. So last week, I had the Rams selecting, as you did, Rob, Jared Goff, keeping the California kid in the city of Los Angeles. I think it's a good PR move. Plus, I think he's probably the most ready-to-play quarterback out of the quarterbacks in this draft, and he will go number 1. Sean.
I have the Los Angeles Rams selecting Carson Wentz, quarterback out of North Dakota State University. I really do think the writing's on the wall with this kid. I think they really like this kid. He's got the size, and he can compete in that division.
Dick.
The LA Rams select Jared Goff from California.
Ooh.
Same reasoning. Really, he's a California guy. He played, big time Division I football. Not that I'm not going to. I don't want to diminish what Carson Wentz did, but if you got the first pick, and it just all seems to make sense for Jared Goff to go number 1, especially. I might not have said that had the Titans still remained at number 1, but I think it's a slam dunk that it's going to be Jared Goff.
And I'm under the same lines of thinking as you are, Ed. I mean, Jared Goff, especially for a team like the Rams, who have been kind of meddling around, Jeff Fisher's team, 7-9, 8-8, 9-7. They need a face of the franchise. They have a good defense. They have some playmakers on offense, Todd Gurley being one of them. So now they need the face of the franchise, that quarterback. And moving into the second largest market into the United States, why not go with a relatively home state kid in Jared Goff? And I think he's capable of coming in. He's went through the down times of building a program, starting at California as a freshman, going 1-11 in his freshman year, and then he's going to finally in his senior year his junior year making it to a bowl game. So he knows how to build a program. He's a leader, and he's what I think the LA Rams need. And it sucks because this is the guy I wanted the Browns to have, and I still do. So maybe it'll work out, but we shall see.
Yeah. Now we move to the number 2 pick, the Cleveland Browns.
Cleveland Browns.
Maybe.
The Cleveland Browns.
The pick is in.
The pick is in, and the
Now-
Cleveland Browns
Now
are number 2.
we should preface this by saying we are not doing any future trades. So
No.
these are actual picks as they currently stand on Tuesday, April 19th.
And Rob Troutman says the Cleveland Browns will select Carson Wentz, quarterback, North Dakota State, if they stay at that position.
I'm in agreement with you, Rob. I think the Browns like both quarterbacks. I don't know if you guys read the latest issue of ESPN the magazine, but the Browns gave Carson Wentz, who's got a big centerpiece feature in there, the Browns gave Carson Wentz a playbook, and the Browns were prevalent in that article. So I think the Browns do like both quarterbacks, and I said in my last mock draft on Six Pack of Random, NEOSportsInsiders.com, that the Browns like both quarterbacks, and they're not going to settle for one. It's either one.
Sean Duffy.
I have the Browns
He has a big smile on his face. So
bucking the trend here.
he's out of Notre Dame.
If the Browns stay at 2, the analytics tell them to take Jalen Ramsey, cornerback.
I wouldn't be sad.
I wouldn't either, actually.
Because statistically, he's the best player in the draft. And if you're not, let's say, and if it plays
They're not
out,
sold on a quarterback.
in my book, Jared Goff is still available, and I don't think they're sold on Jared Goff. But I think they probably would have taken a flyer on Carson Wentz because of the fact of the size, and he's played in the weather and things like that. Like that stuff plays a factor. And he has the bigger arm, I think. But I think if Wentz is off the board and Jared Goff's there, I think they're going to lean to the analytics and say, take the guy that's a corner. I don't like the move, but I have a feeling that's where they're going.
He's a free safety, really, though.
Yeah,
I mean,
and you need one.
I actually thought I said if the Browns don't select a quarterback like Carson Wentz and they don't believe Carson Wentz is a franchise guy, I said Jalen Ramsey would be a nice fit for a defense that needs to be improved. But Ed, what do you think at the number 2 spot?
the Browns select Carson Wentz, quarterback from North Dakota State.
All right, so
What Carson Wentz makes all the sense in the world here. You know,
Not because it just rhymed.
uh,
Wentz
Carson
makes
Wentz
sense.
makes the most sense. They're
Well,
gonna
because-
get
Add a
Sense.
T-shirt near you.
Wentz
well, because
makes
you look,
sense.
if you look at it, you know, the Browns did sign RG3
Yep.
during offseason, and he's
Correct.
going in as the starting quarterback right now. Carson Wentz, he's got skill, he's got talent, but not a lot of people know if that'll translate into the NFL right away. He's going to need time to develop, so that will give RG3 would be the buffer between.
And Luke McCown will be the backup
Or
quarterback
Josh.
/
Or
Josh. Yeah, Josh. Luke.
I wouldn't be.
He'll be the
I'll
coach.
be surprised if Josh McCown is on the Browns team on draft day. I still think there's a good
before
chance
draft day or after the draft is over.
after the draft is
Okay.
over. I'll be surprised. I think there will be a quarterback needy team, Denver Broncos.
San Francisco 49ers.
Brian Hoyer is available.
Yeah, I'm available too.
The Jets need a quarterback.
Tell you what, Brian Hoyer, man, why are we bagging out? Why are you bagging
I
on him?
know.
I don't know, man.
I
He
don't
did
get
not
it.
look
Hey,
good.
he won 7 games for us.
This
didn't
dude
he?
has a winning record in the NFL.
The past
and just
3
gets
years,
completely crapped
isn't he
on.
like 30
Yeah.
and 16
My
or something
God.
like that?
I mean,
Ah.
look,
He's got like a 660 winning percentage as a starter.
And he had a
But
rough
he's gonna-
playoff game, but I
Yeah.
mean, he
Oh,
actually.
I get it. That was a
but-
bad. Yeah, that wasn't the best game.
but he's
Don't disagree with
performed
that.
in the regular season pretty solid.
I'm not saying he's a bad quarterback. I was just saying.
Should have kept him over Johnny Manziel.
Well,
Just saying.
you could have kept anyone over Johnny Manziel.
Yeah, at this point in time. All right.
Jeff Garcia now was better than Johnny Manziel ever
Oh!
was.
Do-do-do.
Bang.
Sean Duffy will be here all night. All right, the next pick is in. With a third pick, the San Diego Chargers select offensive tackle Laramie Tunsil, Ole Miss. That's my selection.
Oh, sorry. I'm going to agree with you on this one, Rob. So my mock draft 2.0 and 3.0 is the same as 2.0 so far, but I have this. San Diego needs to protect Phillip Rivers. I mean, he's not getting any younger, and their offensive line was a travesty last year. San Diego, though, is in one of those weird ways where I could definitely see them going best player available. Jalen Ramsey there, and even help on the defensive line with Joey Bosa could be a possibility, but I'm going to go with the big tackle, Laramie Tunsil.
I'm actually going to go with San Diego taking Joey Bosa, defensive end out of Ohio State. I think
Whoa.
defense is huge in the NFL now. We saw what a good defense and a good defensive end can be worth in the Super Bowl with a guy like Von Bell, or what's his name?
Von Miller.
Von Miller. Damn, Von Bell. What the hell?
Played for Ohio State, right?
Yeah.
Ohio State's
Both.
on the mind.
Yeah, sorry, but yeah, I think again, it's one of those things. This was a toss up for me because in my mock draft, Laramie Tunsil and Bosa is still available. So, one of those things. I think they lean more toward the defensive side of the ball there.
Ed Dick.
With the third pick, the San Diego Chargers select Jalen Ramsey. I think kind of going along the lines of what you said, Duffy. He's probably the best player on the board at that point for a non-quarterback, and they obviously don't need a quarterback right now. So kind of going along the lines of shoring up the defense. They're just going to go about it a different way.
And they actually lost, I believe, their safety, didn't they? What's his name? I can't.
Weddle?
Yeah,
Yeah, Weddle.
Eric Weddle.
Yeah.
they lost, so that would take care of that.
Yep, absolutely.
All right. The pick is in, ladies and gentlemen, in the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I have this going on either way here, but number 4, the Dallas Cowboys select in a little bit of a surprise running back Ezekiel
Ooh.
Elliott.
Wow, that's a
Ohio
Jerry
State.
move. That's a Jerry
And
move.
you know what? I thought Joey Bosa or Zeke could go here. I mean, Jalen Ramsey would still be on my board, but I think right there would be a little bit of a surprise.
I'm also going to go, I think the Cowboys are really going to try and trade up to number 2. I think they're really going to be working the phones with the Browns on draft day. But in this mock draft, I'm going to stick with it as I did last week. I'm going to go best player available, Jalen Ramsey, going to the Cowboys. If this was Sean's mock draft, Laramie Tunsil, can you imagine Laramie Tunsil going on to the Cowboys' offensive, already studded line?
Yep.
But I think the Cowboys make the smart decision. I know that's ironic, saying that with Jerry Jones, but going with the best player in the draft, some would say Jalen Ramsey.
Very
Sean
smart.
Duffy, everybody.
Very smart. I am going to agree with Rob here. I'm going to think the Cowboys need,
You have 2 Buckeyes going back-to-back in the top
I'll
5.
tell you what, Sean Duffy, he
Not
thinks
bad for a
very
Notre Dame
highly.
fan.
He thinks very highly.
I know. And listen, Joey Bosa is a very good player. Ezekiel Elliott is a game changer. I mean, it's hard to deny. He can catch the ball. He can run the ball. He's one of those guys that behind that offensive line in Dallas, right, as it stands right now, that's tough. That's a formidable foe.
Yep.
And not to mention, the load's not going to be on him as much. It's not going to be, hey, you're our only option, and hopefully Tony Romo can stay healthy. You still got Des Bryant. You still got Jason Witten somehow getting a walker across the middle of the field. I have no idea how he's doing that. But you're gonna see. I think that, like you said, it's a very Jerry Jones move to do, and I think that's what they're gonna do.
Ed Dick.
I agree. Ezekiel Elliott goes number
Whoa!
4 to Dallas. I think they saw the value of losing a DeMarco Murray last year when they couldn't maintain a consistent running game. And, we saw how well Tony Romo, not that he doesn't perform well without a running game, but with a running game, it's even that much better. And it doesn't get much better than Ezekiel Elliott. He's got all the tools. He's a 3-down back. If your biggest weakness is that you play too much in college, then I think you're doing okay for yourself.
Yeah.
I saw someone who said that actually it might have been Dane Brugler, fellow Mount Union-ite, said that he can improve his pass blocking. I completely disagree with that because
Yeah, I thought he was pretty good.
he can pick up blitzes. He can stick his feet in the ground and not get bowled over by a linebacker or a defensive lineman. And I think he's the best running back in the draft, no doubt. And he'll most certainly benefit from having Tony Romo as a quarterback.
I think what they mean by redoing his pass blocking, a lot of times in Urban Meyer's offense, it was relied on a quarterback that was mobile. So maybe he was able to pick up the blitzes, but maybe not sustain a block for a long period of time that he would normally with a pocket passer that Romo is. Because again, when you go from a guy like J.T. Barrett or Cardell Jones who can escape the pocket and still make the throw, and Tony Romo who really can't, I think what they're saying is if they go where the NFL's at, they want running backs to be able to pick up and sustain a block as opposed to make contact and then shift off and be available. Maybe that's what they're talking about. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I agree with you, Ed. From whatever I saw, he was able to recognize it, pick it up instead. But again, you look at the type of offense that was ran at Ohio State versus the typical offense in the NFL. Running backs are asked essentially at this point to play almost a hybrid fullback role. They want to be able to be hit and also, sustain that block for a long period of time to create more protection for the quarterback.
I don't think that's an issue with him. Do you see how big he is?
No, I don't. I'm saying I
don't think.
I think it's if there is a flaw in his game, that would be it. Is that maybe he wasn't able to get on the block and stay on the block long enough, and that may be, like I said, it's nitpicking at this point.
I think
it's a
so.
Top 10 pick.
I'm with you on that. I'm with you.
I mean,
Well-
and I don't even like the guy.
Well, we'll move to our number 5 pick, and the Jaguars, their pick is in. With the number 5 pick, the Jacksonville Jaguars select defensive end Joey Bosa, Ohio State, the Ohio State University.
In mock draft 2.0, I did have the Jags taking Joey Bosa. I'm going to change it up, though. This is my change of the draft.
Heyo.
They are going to stay
Jesus.
on the defensive end of the ball, and they're going to stay on the defensive line, but I think they're going to go with DeForest Buckner, the defensive end, defensive tackle out of Oregon that just kind of matches what they're trying to do on defense. Trying to be a little speedy, and that's what Buckner is. He's very speedy. He's a 4-3 defensive end, but on a 3-4, he could be a defensive tackle. So he's very versatile, unlike a Joey Bosa, who's mostly just a 4-3 defensive end. Although I'd hate to see him line up in Baltimore, if the case may be, but where they draft at number 6, but I could see the Jags going with Buckner.
All right.
I have the Jacksonville Jaguars selecting Laramie Tunsil, offensive tackle out of Mississippi. Look, you got to protect Bortles. You got to make sure. I mean, Bortles can play. He's a good, solid quarterback. If you get some weapons around him, you get a solid offensive line in front of him. And if they have an opportunity to draft Laramie Tunsil without having to give the store away to get up there to take him, I mean, that's a slam dunk.
No doubt.
You make that pick and you say, "All right, we're gonna go have a pizza party and we'll wait till Friday to make our other pick," because I mean, that's a gift. That a lot of that has to do with what happens ahead of them, and I think if Laramie Tunsil's there, they take him. If let's say he's not, they take the best available offensive lineman at that point. I think it's either him or Jack Conklin out of Michigan State.
Ed Dick.
Jacksonville takes Laramie Tunsil from offensive tackle Ole Miss.
Chocolate milk for everyone.
You can never get enough protection, especially for a quarterback who's just starting to come into his own. They got a lot of offensive weapons with the two Allens, Robinson and Hearns on the outside.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing. Blake Bortles had a great year last year by all accounts, and he's just going to get better. And you can never have too much offensive line help, especially when you have a slam dunk. As close to a slam dunk as you're going to get on the offensive line with Laramie Tunsil. So that's my pick.
Now, let me ask you about Laramie Tunsil. I did a little bit of research on him, and he's a guy that was injured, I believe, in 2014, and he also had some off-the-field troubles, getting I didn't read exactly what happened, but I know they said he's kind of a little bit of a loose cannon. What do you guys feel of a player of that caliber going so high? Is that a little bit of a risk? I mean, all these picks are risks, but he was injured, and then he also has off the field problems. I mean, that could be a double whammy there.
You got to remember, though. I mean, until Los Angeles made that move to get up to 1, he was going to be
possibly the number 1
pick.
If
everything held, he was going to be the number 1 pick because that's what Tennessee needed. I think you look at the way the draft board's situated now, with the Rams and the Browns clearly needing quarterbacks, or again, I have the Browns not taking a quarterback, but you understand where I'm coming from. It's more of a situation where I think him going from 1 to 5 or in the top 10, somewhere in the top 10 is indicative of his off-field problems. I don't think they're as bad as, say, like a Des Bryant's were coming out of college or a Johnny Manziel's were or anything like that. I think it's the nature of football at this point in time is that if you're in a small area like Oxford, Mississippi is, you're a target because you're on the football team. So I mean, I don't know if that's I don't know the situation. I'm saying Laramie Tunsil, it's one of those situations where his talent outweighs the risk at that point. I think in a top 5 situation, he's the best offensive tackle on the board. So you got it. So he's going to go somewhere.
I mean, his arrest was a domestic dispute with his stepfather, and those charges were eventually dropped.
Right.
So obviously you never want to see any sort of a arrest record, but
that's no more concerning than in my opinion, and I'm not trying to make light of domestic, disturbance or whatever, but a situation like that is no more disturbing than, let's say, Joey Bosa, who had off the field issues just this past year. With partying and marijuana and all that stuff. So, I mean, those are legitimate concerns also. And they always say, the best ability for a football player is availability. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Screwed that up, didn't I?
Dynamite drop in money.
The best ability is ability.
You're right.
So, I mean, you got to be on the field.
I can't tell too good. Is that Vince Lombardi over there?
Oh,
Yeah, whatever, guys.
well, we hit that
Good
one
to
out
be
of the
back.
park,
Good
folks.
to be back.
That's right. Well, that's our top 5 mock draft. Hope you enjoyed it, and it's
I will.
going to be coming up.
I will
Subject
be.
to
I will be
change.
posting this on the website. A little screenshot of it, very similar to what we did
Wait,
for our.
so these are locked in for the draft, right?
we can lock them in.
Are
I
we
mean,
locking them in?
Sure.
Unless you want to try to make a change at some point next week, just on our own.
Well, I will.
Yeah.
I mean, Josh obviously has his.
Yeah, but it'll come out on Friday, so. I should-
So then we have until
We'll
this
see.
Friday, and in Josh's article, he can recap. We'll lock our picks on Friday, and you can recap.
So you're trying to step into my article? I
No,
see.
I'm just trying to. It's called synergy.
I see.
Wow.
what I mean?
All right, Topher Grace.
Maybe I'll do a. Yeah, you could keep it. Make sure you put a little mock draft 3.0 for me, and then I might do a special 6-pack of random
I'll
the
be
day
honest
before
with
the
you.
draft.
I'm probably not gonna have time to do another mock draft, so I'm gonna lock mine in. I'm
That's
good.
fine.
Yeah.
Do it up, Ed.
Yeah, let's lock them in.
I'll
I
lock
mean,
'em
how
in.
many of these analysts need 10 mock drafts to get it right? And they still don't get it right.
We'll give Josh the benefit of the doubt
That's
because
right.
he does have a running column that he has established and he has
That's
set
true.
precedents.
That's true.
Thank
All
you,
right,
Ed.
fine. Mine's locked in.
Glad someone's thinking here.
I'm the compliance manager, damn it.
We'll step away. When we come back, we're going to talk a little high school, and there's some changes in the different regions and divisions going on in high school football. We'll talk all about that coming up live from Studio J. We're Sports on Tap, part of the NEO Sports Insiders Network.
For the best coverage of Cavs, Indians, and Browns, check out NEOSportsInsiders.com. NEOSportsInsiders.com brings you breaking news, opinions, and video from all things related to your favorite Cleveland sports teams. Like us on Facebook and follow at NEO Sports Insiders on Twitter for live updates from all the games. NEOSportsInsiders.com, bringing you the best in Northeast Ohio sports coverage.
Join Sports on Tap the first Thursday of every month at Z's Cream and Bean, 2706 Boston Road in Hinckley, Ohio, as Sports on Tap talks local Ohio high school sports, Cleveland sports, and national sports topics. It's all happening at Z's Cream and Bean the first Thursday of every month starting at 7:30 p.m. Join us.